Hello there and welcome. It is a few seconds away from 3 o'clock here on the East Coast, and we're going to invest a bit of time together today, about 30 minutes in total, and we're going to do some studying together. So I would love for you to also know that I'm here to answer any questions. We're going to study from one of my absolute favorite books of all time. And it's a book that I have always with me. It's a book that I have on my desk. It's a book that when I travel, I bring a copy with me. And it's a book that I really believe that offers such a simple understanding of how to manifest your every desire. And therefore, what I love about this particular book, Feeling is the Secret by Neville, is that Troy loves it. That's great, Troy. So happy that you love it as well. Is that this book really does have the potential to change your life. And we're going to start with, I just want to show you actually inside some of these pages. I have little asterisks, I have highlighting and dog ears and things like that throughout the book. This book has a foreword. Yeah, Gregory says it's one of his as well. This book has the foreword written by Neville, which is a little unusual actually. Often when there's a foreword in a book, it is usually written by someone else, but I'm sure it's perfectly fine. But here's what he said. He said, this book is concerned with the art of realizing your desire. And that alone, that promise, if you will, that's right in the beginning of the book, is something that really brings a reader in. So for those of you that are on the call that are authors, and I know there are some that are here right now, it is important that when you do start your book or the opening of the book, that it's designed in a way that really brings in the reader. It causes them to maybe stand up and give it attention, and allures them that there's something within this book that's going to impact them when it's a nonfiction book. Now in a fiction book, it's a little bit different. It's done a little bit differently, but nonetheless, as you know, and I'm sure you've read fiction books before, you're drawn into a book when it is enticing, when it has something in there that really speaks to you or that engages you. And so in the beginning of Feeling is the Secret with Neville Goddard, he says, this book is concerned with the art of realizing your desire. So I think that alone should be enough to really get your attention. He said it gives you an account of the mechanism used in the production of the visible world. In other words, all the things that have been manifested in this world have come as a result of what you're going to be reading and learning and studying in this particular book. He says it's a small book, but slight. And, you know, as you know, I work with authors and I help them create their books as well. And many times I'm asked the question, well, how long should my book be? And the answer that I will give them is how long does it take to deliver the message that you want to deliver? You have total free will to do whatever it is you want. So Gregory's asking the question between what's the difference between a preface and a foreword. That's a great question, Gregory. I really appreciate you asking it. I would say that a preface is quite often is basically the it's like preface. It's like the beginning, the entry. Sometimes it's like an introduction, and the preface is usually written by the author. But the foreword, as I mentioned a minute ago, is usually written by someone else. So that would be the difference between the two. So Neville says there's a treasure in it, in Feeling is the Secret, defined to the realization of your dreams. Were it possible for you to carry the conviction to another by means of reasoned arguments and detailed instances, this book would have been many times its size. And so it's nice and simple. I think that's the idea that he's getting to. And personal success will prove far more convincing than all the books that could be written on the subject. And if you've studied any of Neville Goddard's work, what you'll notice in many of his books is that he talks about case studies, people that have been at his seminars or were at his seminars years ago. And when Neville Goddard taught techniques like pre-sleep moment techniques or the revision process to revise your day and have that focus, what he has found and what the users of the book have found is that just like he's saying that you're going to personally experience the success. And when you do, and I know exactly what he's talking about, because when I first started studying personal development, I was completely drawn into these ideas. And the reason I was drawn into these ideas is because there was a promise of a better way to live a life. And that's what I desired. I truly wanted to live a better life and experience better results. So I was very open-minded about my approach. And of course, our paradigms are going to try and pull us back. And so when you're open-minded about the approach and you really stay tuned into what does this mean and what can it mean for you, you're going to have a really different experience. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to read like verbatim word for word on every single part of this book, but I want to just focus on some of the highlights, some of the areas that I have highlighted that I found to be very valuable with you right now. And on page 13, if you have this version of the book, what Neville says is that knowledge of the law of consciousness and the method of operating this law will enable you to accomplish all you desire in life. Armed with a working knowledge of this law, you can build and maintain an ideal world. And you can build and maintain this ideal world by getting in the study and staying in the study. I'm seeing a lot of familiar names on the call here right now. Vladimir's here, Gregory's here, Victoria's here, Adele is here, Celine is here, Victoria's here, Beate's here, Carlin's here. I saw Mohammed was here as well. Many, many people that are here that have been in this study. A number of you are actually in some of my other programs. And what does that say to me? It says that you're committed to study and you're committed to success. And I believe what Neville Goddard is saying about that is that when you are, you're going to experience better results. Now, why is that? Because your awareness is going to increase. And the better your awareness, the better the results. So Neville says the conscious, yes, is the realm of effect. The subconscious is the realm of cause. He said the subconscious doesn't originate ideas, but accepts them as true, those which the conscious mind feels to be true, and in a way known to itself objectifies the accepted ideas. I think there's three really key aspects of what he said just there. And one of them is in the last part of what he said, accepted ideas. Uh-oh, what did I do here? There we go, accepted ideas. So let's say, and this is actually a really good thing to use as an example. Earlier today, I was on a call with a number of my clients that are in my author program. And one of my clients asked me, is there a contradiction between having a goal or a thought or feeling of earning $100,000 a month versus earning $1 million a month? And I asked her, why do you ask? And she said, because she has both of those goals. Absolutely, there's a contradiction. So what would you love? What would you love? And of course, she's in my $1 million in a month program. And that's how she changed her goal from earning $100,000 a month to $1 million in a month, because that's really what that program was designed to help people understand, that not only is it possible, but many people are doing it. And I've done it myself as well. So she must accept the idea. And I think that's the first step, is you have to accept the idea. You have to accept the idea for you. So would you love to earn $1 million in the month? And I asked her, I said, well, which one of those two would you love? Now that's a pretty like palm to forehead, duh kind of question, right? But it's interesting though, and she, of course, she said $1 million a month rather than 100,000 in the month. But it's interesting how people respond, and how people respond is usually based on their own paradigms or their own beliefs of what's possible. Well, if you believed it was possible to earn $1 million in a month and you accepted that idea, now that's an exception, accepting the idea into your conscious mind. But how do you get it into your subconscious mind? Because he said the subconscious mind doesn't originate the ideas, you originate it in your conscious mind, right? And it's only accepted into the subconscious mind when you feel it to be true, and in a way known only to itself objectifies the accepted ideas. Control of the subconscious is accomplished through, this is really important line right here, control of the subconscious is accomplished through control of your ideas and feelings. Control of your ideas and feelings. So if we think about the title of this book, Feeling is the Secret. So if you think about that example that I gave of my client who had declared that she would love to be earning $1 million in a month, and she is in my $1 million in a month program, she's going to accomplish that through the control of her ideas and of her feelings, just like anybody else would be doing that. So how do you do it? Now, you're aware of my process called the Power Life Script, which is you accepting an idea into your conscious mind, and through repetition, you impress it upon your subconscious mind. However, it won't work if you don't attach the feeling to the statements. So you could have the desire and you could want to have all of this money or set a goal to earn that kind of money. But if you don't feel it and have the ideas about it, you're not going to do it, right? Do you see how simple this is? And I think what we're sharing here in this particular study time are the subtle distinctions that are going to make a big difference in your life. That's why I hear time and time again from people who will say, you know, I'm doing all these things and I'm listening to my Power Life Script and I'm doing my affirmations and I'm doing my gratitude and it's not working. And why is that? Because they're not controlling their feelings and they're not controlling what they're thinking about, right? So it's not enough to just do your Power Life Script. You've got to really be present in the experience and connect to the feelings as if it's already done, as if that goal, whatever it is that you desire, is already accomplished. So Neville goes on to say, feeling is the one and only medium. Like, this is big, okay? Feeling is the one and only medium through which ideas are conveyed to the subconscious. And I think that really sums up what I was saying earlier. You've got to feel it. So it's not enough to just think about it. It's not enough to just listen. It's not enough to just affirm. You absolutely must feel it. Okay, Megan has a question here. Megan is saying, my question is in terms of focus. I have my Power Life Script that I listen to every day. That is my overall dream life. When you manifested your dream house, it seems as though you honed in your focus on that goal at a time. Do you suggest that we run the Power Life Script, but then put focus energy into a main goal where you would spend more time in alignment with that specific goal above and beyond the Power Life Script? Depends. You know what? It's not that when I focused on a dream home, that is not the only goal I focus on. It may have been a priority goal, and I have a priority goal right now, which is an income goal, and it's on my goal statement, but it does not mean I spend more time in alignment. I spend time in alignment with all of it. And if you want all of it, all of your goals, you spend time in alignment with all of those goals. We're incredibly powerful beings. I believe, this is my interpretation, I believe it's recommended to focus on one goal is because we're really training our conscious mind and our subconscious mind to think in a certain way. So in order to do that, like, people are challenged with so many thoughts. Plus, if you've got paradigms that are already been built within you and they're scattered or maybe they're non-supportive, you want to be focusing on the feeling of that particular goal manifested. However, it does not mean that you can't focus on your entire life and all those other things being manifested. You absolutely can. Like, if you listen to my Power Life Script or you read my Power Life Script, I'm working on multiple goals at the same time. Now, yes, I have one goal that's on my card, but you'll also find that there's a ripple effect when you're achieving your goals. And what do I mean by a ripple effect? I mean that when you're achieving one goal, you're very likely going to achieve the other goals as well, providing they are in alignment with each other. All right, it's very important. So yes, you can do both. But if you're fairly new to this, or you want to only focus on one goal, it's totally up to you. But I focus on multiple goals at the same time. And yes, I do have one goal that's on my goal card. So feeling is the medium. It's the one and only medium through which ideas are conveyed to the subconscious. And he said, but control of feeling is not meant restraint or suppression of your feeling, but rather the disciplining of self to imagine and entertain only such feelings as contributors to your happiness. Then he says, what you do not want done unto you, do not feel it done unto another. Then we go over to the other page here, and he says, every feeling makes a subconscious impression. Now, this is important that you know this. Every feeling. This is another reason why people don't achieve their goals. Every feeling. So they're thinking, oh, I really want that, but yet they start thinking about why they can't have it, or they start thinking about debt, or they start thinking about something else. So Neville Goddard says every feeling makes a subconscious impression, and unless it is counteracted by a more powerful feeling of an opposite nature, it must be expressed. The dominant of two feelings is the one expressed. And he gives an example. He says, I am healthy is a stronger feeling than I will be healthy. That's why when you're setting your goals, you don't say, I want to, or it's coming, or I will have, or I would like to. You declare your goals as if you have them right now. You must connect to that goal, or as Neville Goddard says in here, the wish is as if it's fulfilled right here, right now. And when you do, amazing things are going to happen. Oh, Paul says he just finished reading this book this morning. That's awesome, Paul. I love that. Okay, so he goes on to say, what you feel you are always dominates what you feel you would like to be always. So to be realized, the wish must be felt as a state that is rather than a state that is not. So if we think about the example earlier when Megan asked about a dream home, right? And I actually had this conversation yesterday when we were on our Pure Magic monthly training call. When I had purchased this home, the one that I'm in right now, I began to declare that my husband and I, we own this home outright. This is our home. We own it. I'm so happy and grateful that we now own and live at, and then I declared the address, felt it as if it was already here. But by the time we purchased the home and then moved into the home, several months had passed. We actually had a 6-month closing. And so 6 months had passed before we had left our other home and moved in here. However, for that 6-month period, I was living emotionally and in my mind, but through feeling, I was living here. This was a done deal. It was absolutely a done deal. And this particular home was twice the price of my previous home. And my other home was over $1 million. So just give you an idea, this house was twice the price. So I had to feel it and connect to it as if it was already done. And bam, I manifested into physical form. And that's where we now live. Neville says, be careful of your moods and feelings, for there is an unbroken connection between your feelings and your visible world. So what does that mean? Your body is an emotional filter and bears the unmistakable marks of your prevalent emotions. So you may think different things, or you may think you're doing the work that's going to get you to where you want to go, but what are you really feeling? And that's why I think the secret to everything is the title of this book. Feeling is the secret, absolute secret to everything. So Neville goes on to say, think feelingly only of the state you desire to realize. Feeling the reality of the state sought and living and acting on that conviction is the way to all seeming miracles. All change of expression are brought about through a change of feeling. When I think back, as I'm reading Feeling is the Secret, I think back to 25 years ago when I made a decision to purchase a home and I didn't have any money and no earthly idea how I was going to come up with the money to pay for this home. And yet I went out and took action and I signed a legally binding contract. I did exactly, and I wasn't even exposed to Neville Goddard's material at that time. As a matter of fact, I've only been exposed to Neville Goddard's material within the last 10 years. So we're going back 25 years. But this is what Neville Goddard is talking about here. Like think feelingly only of the state you desire to realize. That's why I had created my methodology for switching away from what I didn't want over to what I wanted by asking myself the question anytime I felt out of alignment. So for Megan, if you're looking to purchase this beautiful dream home, what you need to do is that you want to only focus on your outcomes. So if you find, let's say you decide you're going to purchase your dream home and you start thinking about why you can't, or you start thinking about why it won't happen, or you start thinking about starting a business and why it won't be successful. And even if it's just for a moment, one moment, like bam, you got to snap right out of that. And so my methodology for snapping away from thoughts of what I don't want over to what's thoughts of what I do want is to ask myself this very powerful forward question. What would you love? What would you love? And there's all kinds of people out there that might, trying to dissuade you away from your goals because they're deeply caring, and maybe they're thinking, oh, nobody else has done that before. And I remember when I started my business in 1994, and I had never run a business before. My parents weren't entrepreneurs. My mother used to work at a factory, and then she was a checkout clerk in a grocery store, and my father was a janitor. And so I didn't have role models of entrepreneurs that were in my life, but I decided I want to incorporate a company, and I just figured out how to do it. But a lot of well-meaning people started to share with me why it wasn't going to work, or why most businesses fail within the first year, or why, many of the other businesses beyond that. And they started quoting statistics. And I would say things like, well, that's not going to be me. And they're like, yeah, you say it now, but wait until. It's like, I'm not accepting that idea. I'm not accepting that idea. And here we are 25 years later, and I still have a very successful business that grows over and over and over again. So you got to be giving your emotional focus, which I think are two good words that we can put together, emotional focus, over to what you want, and only see that. Neville says there's nothing impossible to man. Nothing impossible, except, we can't break the realms of nature. I can't go on top of the roof of this building, jump off, and expect to, soar down to the ground like a bird. That just won't happen. So when we talk about nothing is impossible, that's within what our capabilities are as a man or a woman. So whatever the mind of man can conceive and feel as true. So this is a little different variation from the quote that you may be familiar with, which is, whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, he will achieve, or it will achieve. And so here what Neville says is, whatever the mind of man can conceive and feel as true. Feel as true is the secret there. Feel as true, the subconscious can and must, that's what he says here, must objectify. This isn't a possibility thing. This is like absolutely certain. That's why I also have on my desk this: your success is absolutely guaranteed. Absolutely guaranteed. Like, this is a statement that I heard from Joel Osteen, actually. And when I heard this, I thought, ooh, I like that idea. I really love that concept. And I hope you like it too, because it's true. Your success is absolutely guaranteed. But in order for you to experience the success that you desire, is you've got to do the work, right? You've got to feel as if it's already there. You've got to invest the time to connect to what the feeling states are as it relates to what it is that you want to accomplish. So he says, your feelings create the pattern, pattern from which your world is fashioned, and a change in feeling is a change of pattern. So when I began to study the wonderful work of Bob Proctor 40 years ago, I had a change in pattern, because my thinking prior to meeting Bob was very different to what Bob was sharing from the stage. And I knew he had some very valuable information. I felt it in my bones. And of course, he's very convincing of that as well. And he said, Neville Goddard goes on to say, the subconscious never fails to express that which is being impressed upon it. So when we're talking about Power Life Script as an example, and really connecting to your Power Life Script, I've been listening to mine all day long. And if you don't know what it is, head on over to powerlifescript.com. And if you want to get our free ebook, you can go to Power Life Script. No, what is it? It's Peggy McColl, or is it Power Life Script? Actually, Celine's on the line. She's going to let you know which one it is exactly. I think it's powerlifescript.com/free book. So we'll get you that link so that you can go and download that book. But what that does is it impresses the ideas and feelings and emotions upon, thank you very much, Celine just put it here. Yep, it's the powerlifescript.com/ebook, or free book, pardon me. Oh my goodness, free book. And so the subconscious never fails. So that's why the Power Life Script works. It never fails. It always works, because you're impressing it upon your subconscious mind. Uh-oh, I have guests coming for the weekend, and they're at the front door. Here, let me see if I can just tell them to come on in. Hold on one sec there, my friends, because my husband's not here, so I have to do it. So hold on. Oh, someone's at my front door. I don't know who that is. Live view. Oh, Come on in, Marianne. I'm on a call. Just walk right in. Walk right in. Sorry about that. Let me see if I can get you guys back. Okay, we're back. Okay. My cousin is here from Toronto with her husband, and they are about 36 minutes early. No biggie. We're going to wrap this up anyways in about 5 minutes, and hopefully she's going to walk. Did she come in? Oh, I hope she did. Well, I might have to take you to the front door if she didn't. I think she did. Okay. Anyways, let's go back to this. And if not, we'll call it a wrap and we'll pick it up another day. Okay. No, I want to read. This is a page that I have in this book that I have total dog-eared. And I want to read this because I think this is a very, very valuable idea. Actually, before I do, let me just hold on a second here, guys. I just want to make sure that she did walk in the door. Oh, no, she's still outside. Come on in. Oh. So cute, my little puppies. They're the welcome committee. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to wrap it up with this. And it is from page 25 if you have this book yourself. Okay, thank you, thank you. Okay, so here's the page, my favorite one of the entire book. And it says, mastery of self-control of your thoughts and feelings is your highest achievement. However, until perfect self-control is attained, so that in spite of appearances, you feel all that you want to feel, use sleep and prayer to aid you in realizing your desired states. These are the two gateways into the subconscious mind. So let's talk about those for a moment, sleep and prayer. Let's talk about prayer. There's an entire chapter in here on prayer, but this is, I think there's a line in here that I think that really sums it up absolutely perfectly. Here's what he says. He says, the only condition, this is for prayer, the only condition required is that you believe that your prayers are already answered. All right, that's it, the only condition. So instead of, oh, please, 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 you just say, thank you, thank you. You feel it. So the prayers are a prayer of thanks. Now sleep, what he suggests about sleep is that like this occupies 1/3 of our life, typically, right? He said it's the natural door into the subconscious mind. So what does he suggest that you do when you're drifting off into sleep? That you say to yourself, or you ask yourself this question, and this is the other part of my little triangle thing that I have here. Now that your dream is fulfilled, so write this out. If you haven't already done this, write this out and put it on a card and put it right beside your bed. Now that your dream is fulfilled, how do you feel? How do you feel? All right, write that out. And then as you're drifting off into sleep, you're feeling as if your dreams are already fulfilled. And when you do that, what happens is that's still, your subconscious mind is still working while you're drifting off into sleep. And according to Neville Goddard and Dr. Wayne Dyer, that whatever you're focusing on in those moments just before you drift off into sleep is what's going to show up in your life. All right, so you absolutely want to be focusing on only whatever it is that you desire. Okay, well, I think I better go before my little doggies lose their little voice. I'm going to be back with you again next week. We'll let you know which days and which times we're going to be back. More study time with Peg. I really appreciate you guys being here. I want to wish you a great weekend, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. All right, bye-bye for now.